What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mayorverse. This is Mayor Reynolds, aka Midnight Mayor here, and today we are talking about a wild, bold, speculative topic, which is other games set in the existence, which is the Deadrop universe. We all know that eventually Midnight Society will move on beyond Deadrop, whenever that may be. It may not be until 2030 for all we know, right? But we know that the existence in Midnight Society is meant to really be a platform, a vehicle, not just a singular studio for one game, although it's likely Deadrop will get support for a long time to come. So I'm going to speculate about other games that I would like to see set in the Deadrop universe that make sense for not only the universe, but the audience, the studio, the developer, and potentially being supported at the same time as Deadrop as a live service as well. So here we go. So obviously the Deadrop fan base, player base, Midnight Society as a developer is very familiar with first-person shooters, so that might not necessarily mean that they want to make another first-person shooter right after Deadrop, but if they did, I would love to see a tactical shooter, something like a 5v5 game set in the existence, something like Counter-Strike Global Offensive, obviously, the soon-to-be here Counter-Strike 2, dare I say Valorant. I know there's a lot of people in the Deadrop community that play Valorant. I don't think I'd personally want it to be like a hero shooter or an operator type thing like Valorant. I'd prefer to just see like a standard thing like Counter-Strike personally, but I would love to see, Valorant launched with like 3 maps. The thing about tactical shooters is you don't need to make a million maps, you need to have a few really good ones. So I would love to see a tactical shooter. There's already a lot of the bits and pieces there in the Deadrop actual sandbox. They might need to be tweaked and changed, obviously. But I would love to see a tac shooter set in the existence. I think it would really hit home with a lot of the player base. So I think a game that focuses purely on 1v1 dueling. Wait, cut that. So our next idea is actually something like an old school arcade style side-scrolling action game. What you're looking at is actually the trailer for a game called Huntdown, if you're looking for a game just like this. But there's a lot of stuff within Huntdown, just looking at the way it looks, that reminds you of the existence, that reminds you of Deadrop, that old school kind of 80s, early 90s vibe, that gritty, dark kind of, urban sprawl kind of idea. Again, run and gun, cars, all the set pieces are here, and I could totally see not only maybe Midnight Society making that themselves, but maybe they, team with an indie developer to help get this game developed, so Midnight Society can continue focusing on Deadrop and the other AAA games they plan to develop. Or again, this is a game that they could potentially make and support while Deadrop is still going, while they're still cranking out live content for Deadrop, because something like a side scroller wouldn't take a lot of development resources, most likely. Right in the same vein, how about a Vampire Survivors clone, which is really kind of like a Geometry Wars clone, by the way. But anyway, set in the existence, set in the Deadrop universe, a roguelite or roguelike game. Again, I think they could develop this with a small group of people, or maybe an indie dev could take it on for Midnight Society. But this genre is super popular right now. I don't think it would take an insane amount of time and resources to develop. As a matter of fact, I wrote and designed an entire Vampire Survivors clone myself. I just need I need a coder and I need an artist. I got it. Everything's here, guys. Call me. But I think this would totally work and people would really enjoy it. My plan was to just release a free like 10-15 minute version like this on itch.io. But alas, I'm not a programmer and I'm definitely not an artist. Okay, this one is very near and dear to my heart, and again, this is one not only I'd personally love to see, but I would love to work on, and that is a visual novel style game, like a Telltale style game set in the existence, set in the Deadrop universe, really gritty, maybe even detective style story like The Wolf Among Us, which is a super underrated game. But I think the setting and the universe of Deadrop is ripe for storytelling, stuff maybe like Frank Miller's Sin City. Maybe that's a little too far in one direction, but I love that stuff. And I would love to see a game like this that really fleshes out more about the tower, more about the city, maybe more about the cleaners. And again, I think this is a game that could be developed with a relatively small development team, or be taken on by a whole other team in collaboration with Midnight Society. Please, I mean, you could have a whole wealth of the, you could do an anthology. Again, I want to see a comic series based in the existence, or an animated series. This could all tie together. Super excited. I love this idea. So the next one is probably the biggest and most bold one that I'm going to include on this list, which is an RPG. And this one was actually mentioned by 402 Robert Bowling himself in an interview or an AMA, when he said at some point during his career he'd really like to make an RPG. Doesn't mean it's necessarily gonna happen, it's just something that he wants to work on. It's like a project that he would love to do someday. Does that mean he'll do it at Midnight Society? Does that mean it'll be set in the existence? Does that mean it'll ever happen? Who knows? The question then begs, will it be something like an ARPG, like a Diablo or a Path of Exile? Would it be something more like a Destiny? The problem I see with this, task is that it's gonna be very big and probably take a large development team, a lot of time, unless you did something retro, like the new Sea of Stars, like a turn-based RPG or a retro RPG that a lot of today's, modern indie developers would make. Who knows? Tell me what you would like to see. Would you even like to see an RPG in the Deadrop universe? I'll play anything in the existence, to be honest with you. But we included this one on the list specifically because Robert Bowling had mentioned RPGs in his wish list of things for his career. There's a lot of other ideas out there, guys, but I didn't want to get too wild. There's something like you could do a stealth game, something like a single-player stealth game set in the existence or in the tower, for example. What about Spies versus Mercs, by the way? Like an AR, oh god, here we go. What if we got like a Dead by Daylight style asymmetrical multiplayer game where one small group of players plays as the cleaners and the other people play as, survivors or claws or variants, whatever you want to call it, who have to try to sneak around the tower, loot up, and not get caught by the variants or cleaners, something like that. Who knows? Obviously, there would be more variants or claws than there would be cleaner players, or something like Spies versus Mercs, where the cleaners are in first person and the variants or claws are in third person. Who knows? And I just, oh my god, the ideas never stop. On the heels of that idea, I considered, what about something like a survival horror game, or, just straight up stealth game set in the tower or set in the existence of some, again, I think this would just be, it's probably too much to ask. It'd probably end up being like single player games. It would take a lot of development resources and a lot of time to develop. It's a cool idea, but I'm just not sure about the likeliness that it would actually happen. And I think you could work a lot of these like more horror elements potentially into something like an RPG, or into something like the visual novel style game. Survival games are really hot right now. That came on my mind. Again, I could, part of it I could see working, but I think it would take a lot to make this happen. I don't really see it personally being developed by 12 a.m. or, in Midnight Society. It's not something they really have in their DNA, but hey, you never know, maybe they'll stretch their wings. I just personally don't see this one happening. Same thing with an MMORPG. I'm a huge fan of MMORPGs. I've been playing World of Warcraft for almost 20 years now, but I'm not sure that I see that one coming, because it would just take so much, such a massive team, so much work, so much money. I personally don't think we'll see it, but the idea popped in my head. So that's it for this video, guys. Let me know which one of these ideas are your favorites, which ones you absolutely hate, which ones you would play, which ones you would work on yourself. Some of these might be made in Deadrop UGC, who knows. I wanted to try to steer away mostly from UGC ideas though, because we've got other videos about that. I wanted to focus on, games that might be developed by Midnight Society someday over the next, 30 years, let's say, because we all know Deadrop is here to stay, and it's gonna be around for years and years and years. But some of these ideas could be developed in conjunction with Deadrop, or maybe way later down the road, set in the universe. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you enjoy Deadrop and Midnight Society speculation, excitement like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel and check out all the other videos on the channel. Really appreciate your support. We're coming close to 500 subscribers on this channel, and then we can get close to monetization, which means every time you guys watch a video, it will actually support my content budget to do more things like Midnight, our live action Deadrop series. So please subscribe to the channel, like the video, drop a comment to help us out, and I really appreciate y'all watching. All right, have a good night, good day, wherever you are. See you in the next video. This video is sponsored by G Fuel. Use code MAYOR at any time to get 20% off your order at G Fuel on gfuel.com or the G Fuel app. Just go to the website, select one of their many, many, many amazing flavors in both tubs, cans, G Fuel hydration, whatever G Fuel products you want. Use code MAYOR. at checkout to get 20% off. I guarantee you, you're gonna feel hyped when you drink G Fuel. Come watch my streams if you need any more evidence of that. Get some G Fuel today, use code MAYOR for 20% off, and thanks to G Fuel for sponsoring all of our content.